The Leatherman Squirt PS4 is a brilliantly engineered plier-based mini multi-tool, but how does it compare with the nearest competition? Let's find out.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
So this is my second mini multi-tool comparison. The first one compared scissor-based multi-tools, and this one is to compare plier-based multi-tools. This one here is the Leatherman Squirt PS4. I own this and I've had it for quite some time. This is the one to beat. This is also the most expensive, and this comes in at £42 including tax. The other three multi-tools I have bought specifically for this review. So first of all, at the budget end of the market, we have the True Utility number 7. Now, as you can see, this is really nicely packaged and presented really well and would make a brilliant gift. It comes with, and it says it in big letters, a free keyring, and you can see this nice flat keyring that comes with it. And this I bought for £13 including tax, so it really is very affordable, and it'll be interesting to see if that is reflected in the quality of this tool. But under this packaging, it looks really nice. Second, we have the Gerber Dime multi-tool, and this is probably the nearest direct competition to the Leatherman PS4. Again, you can see it's really nicely packaged. Again, it's in black and orange. I don't know what it is about black and orange when it comes to multi-tools, or sweatshirts for that matter. But this is a mid-priced offering, and I bought this for £24 including tax. Then we have the Style PS. This is from Leatherman and is a little bit of an odd one out in this comparison because it lacks some of the tools that we find in all the others. And I paid £37 including tax for this one. So we have £13, £24, £37 and then £42 with the PS4. Now, I could have included a lot more options in this review, particularly if I started to look at the Chinese unbranded market, but I chose to keep it to quite a tight selection. So ones that you might think are missing are the Next Tool flagship. This is quite an interesting multi-tool, but as you can see, it crosses over into the scissor-based multi-tool as well as the plier-based multi-tool. So it's an interesting multi-tool for that reason, but it doesn't quite directly compare with these here. Also, you might think I'm missing the Gerber Vise, but the Gerber Vise is very similar to the Gerber Splice, which I did review in the scissor-based multi-tool video. And I know from that comparison that the Gerber Dime I'm going to review in this video is, in my view, a much better product as a plier-based multi-tool. Also, if you've not seen the scissor-based multi-tool comparison, then I will provide a link to that video at the end of this video. Let's start at the top from a price point of view with the Leatherman Squirt PS4 and have a quick look through its tool set. So this feels like a very premium product. It comes in pretty basic packaging. This is a matte black, feels like an anodized aluminium. All the tools apart from the pliers are on the outside of the tool, so you can get at them really quickly. So to get at the pliers, you simply fold it back. Really nice mechanism, feels really good in the hand. They are spring loaded and feel pretty substantial. So you have the pliers and you have wire cutters there in the middle. And it does look at first glance like there might be a gap here between the pliers, but they do meet at the tip and are in fact quite precision. So really nicely engineered. These type of pliers on this type of tool are like tweezers on steroids, I think. So pliers are really nice, action's really nice, feels really good quality. And then what other tools do we have? So you have the knife, which is pretty sharp out the box, drop point profile, nothing wrong there. And then you have a file. This is not a diamond file, which is a bit of a shame. So it's fine on that side, quite coarse on that side. A reasonable amount of surface area there, so it can actually serve a purpose. On the end here, you've got a really useful large flathead screwdriver. Then we have scissors, spring loaded, very small. Then on this side we have a flathead screwdriver and cap lifter, again quite small. And on this side, we have what is a very small flathead stroke Phillips. Some very useful tools there, albeit not particularly big. And that's it. That's the tool set. Really compact, really well engineered, feels really nice in the hand, and this is the one to beat. So let's have a look at the Leatherman Style PS. I really like the design of this. This looks like the kind of skelly tool design aesthetic, and it looks really good for that. Really well engineered, feels great in the hand, and it opens really nicely. And the plier head is exactly the same as the one found in the Squirt PS4. In terms of the other tools, depending on your opinion, this is where it might fall down a little bit. So there is no knife on this multi-tool, but the fact that it doesn't have a knife in here means that it is suitable to carry it in your hand luggage on a flight according to TSA rules. So this has a benefit all on its own, particularly if you're flying under TSA rules in the US without having it confiscated. So that might be a benefit for this particular multi-tool, but if we look at it in the context of all of these, it's lacking a little bit on some of the tools. It's got scissors, which are small but feel quite precision and nice, and we'll check those out in a minute. Then we have this tool, which is a really nice file because it's really long and it's actually really coarse. You've also got this very small flathead, and this will also double up as a Phillips screwdriver. Then you have a cap lifter built into this carabiner here. Then you have one more tool hidden away here, which is tweezers. Again, not sure how useful these are in the real world. You could probably get a splinter out. You can't put a lot of pressure on because the metal's quite thin. I guess it's better than having nothing there at all. I like the fact that they've made use of that space. Bearing in mind that the pliers in their own right are super tweezers, then I'm not sure how useful it is to have these tweezers here as well. Okay, and then we have the Gerber Dime. This one feels much more chunky in the hands, still looks pretty good and feels really solid. You feel like you're getting a lot for the money. So looking at the tool set, it's a little bit harder to open, but it springs out nicely. Again, you've got the pliers with the wire cutters in there. There's more of a gap in the pliers, as you can see here, but that's intentional because it goes to a point at the end. Again, like the Leatherman, all the other tools are accessible from the outside. And you can immediately see you've got a pretty hardcore cap lifter here. It's got width to it. It's not just a single blade width, and we'll do a little bit of comparison with that later. And then in terms of the tools here, we have a blade, a different blade shape here with a curved edge on that blade as well as the point. And again, it feels really sharp. The tools are a little bit harder on the fingernails to get out. Then you've got what might be a small flathead stroke Phillips there with a little bit of a file on it. Coarse on one side and less coarse on the other, but it's so short here, I'm not sure in reality how useful that would be. And then on the other side you have a little bit harder to get out. You've got a flathead like the Leatherman, and then we have the scissors. Scissors again, spring loaded, small. I've not actually tried these yet. These are fresh out the box apart from the Leatherman PS4, so it will be interesting to see how they compare. And then we have one more tool, and this is quite unusual. This is a package opener. So all the tools are the same as the Leatherman PS4 apart from this, and where in the PS4 we had the file and flathead, this has got a package opener. That is a unique element for the Gerber Dime. So in general, it is kind of bulkier. There's more detailing on it, which is down to personal preference. It's not quite as well engineered. You can feel that straight away. The tools require more effort to get out. but for the money it looks pretty good value on first look. Okay, so here we have the true utility tool, and immediately it feels heavy and quite bulky in the hand. The quality feels pretty good actually for something at this price point, but there's definitely what feels like excessive weight and bulk to this tool. So let's have a look at the pliers. It's a little bit stiffer to pull them out, but other than that it feels quite good. You can't see any evidence of the spring-loaded mechanism, so I expect it's built into the pivot point. In terms of the precision on this tool, it's not great. As you can see there, it doesn't come to a point. And then also, I don't know if you can see that, but it doesn't quite meet flush. There's a bit of a ridge there where it meets. So there's clearly some compromise there in terms of the build quality. In terms of the other tools, they're all on the outside of the knife for quick access. You've got the carabiner, which isn't designed as a cap lifter because you've got a separate cap lifter here, and this cap lifter here is combined with this small Phillips screwdriver. Again, it doesn't look like it's precision engineered. So you've got the Phillips screwdriver there and the cap lifter. On this side you don't have anything. It looks like there should be something there. There's certainly room for something, but there are no tools on that side. And on this side you only have two tools. One is the blade. It's larger than the others, so quite a lot more heavy duty. If I just compare that to what we have on here, you can see there's a huge difference there. So this is a much bigger blade, I guess, from a much bigger tool. That's that. And then on this side you have a saw. I'm always a little bit skeptical of a saw in a relatively short tool length because there's only so much movement you can get on it to cut. And then rather strangely there's a flat head screwdriver on the end of this saw, and that's not really where I would want to see one. The problem is if you are grabbing the tool like this to use the screwdriver, bearing in mind these are non-locking implements, and you were to push hard and it was to fall back on itself and you're holding it like that, the saw is gonna basically really do some damage there. So I am not a big fan of that at all. So quite a minimal tool set. There is one additional element here, and that is a rough edge there, a kind of fingernail file, I suppose you would call it, and that's worth having, I would say. But on the whole, it's quite a lot of bulk and weight for a relatively small amount of tools, albeit bigger tools, certainly in the case of the knife, and obviously there's no scissors on this one. So that's the True Utility 7. In terms of weight and bulk, in overall bulk, I think the order is like that. Just looking at the weight compared, 98 grams for the True Utility, 66 for the Dime, 45 for the Style, and 56 for the Squirt. So in order of weight we're looking at that. Definitely the Leathermans are more compact and lighter weight. I would say the Leatherman Squirt is the most compact, and the Leatherman Style is obviously the slimmest and the lightest. The True Utility stands out for being the bulkiest and the heaviest, and the Gerber Dime is somewhere in between. So let's see how these four multi-tools compare in use. Okay, let's quickly compare a couple of the tools, starting with the main blade. Now, the Leatherman Style doesn't have a main blade, as we've already discussed, so we'll put that to one side. Clearly, there's an obvious difference straight away with all of these blades. The True Utility is about 50% bigger than the others, but how do they perform? Well, let's get some A4 paper with the Leatherman Squirt. So that kind of works as you'd expect. And then if we compare the Gerber, not quite as good. Okay, and then we have the True Utility. So I would put them in that order, with the Leatherman being the best, followed by the Gerber. The True Utility is not that good at all, but let's compare that with some paracord. So if I do this, so that cuts that fine. That's the Leatherman. Try the same with the Gerber Dime. A little bit harder, but it does it as well. And then with the True Utility. It's a massive difference. This is took 3 cuts to cut into that, so clearly this True Utility is nowhere near as sharp. While we've got the paracord out, let's test the scissors as well. So the True Utility has no scissors. The Leatherman scissors are exactly the same in size and design and shape, so we can assume they are both the same. And then we have the Gerber scissors. Compared, the Gerber scissors are actually, they're both very similar in terms of size. Let's try it with a brand new pair of scissors, which is what we've got on this one here. So we'll try the snip test to start with. It's not doing it, so then we'll try the test under pressure. And it is doing it, but it's hard work. As far as the Leatherman goes, a million miles away from the Victorinox scissors, which will just snip these. So a little bit disappointing as far as the scissors go. Let's try the Gerber Dime. Let's try the snip test first. It's not going to do that. Let's try the test under pressure. And again, it's done it, not easy, but it has cut through it eventually. So the scissors are not great. They're probably fine for snipping paper. If you look at the Leatherman, cuts it fine as you'd expect. The Gerber, it kind of sticks halfway, but it does get there in the end. It's not quite as smooth as the Leatherman. In terms of the screwdriver, this is the sort of thing you might want to tackle with a small screwdriver. So if we look at the Leatherman Style, that works nicely. It's got that kind of combination small screwdriver and Phillips, so that works well. With the Gerber, really you need to open it up, otherwise the cap lifter gets in the way, and when you do that it works fine. With the Leatherman Squirt, you can get in there again to give you a little bit more reach. You can get in there with that. Doesn't work quite as well, actually. A little bit too pointed in a way. Let's try the True Utility. Again, we have to open that up. You've got a lot of bulk in here now getting in the way, so that's not ideal, but it does do the job. If we now look how the flathead screwdrivers cope, well, there isn't one on the Leatherman Style, so we've got nothing to compare on that one. Unfortunately, the Gerber Dime won't fit in there because of the bulk of the tool and the short reach of the screwdriver. You can't open it up to get longer reach because it pivots at this end. The Leatherman Squirt has the same problem, although it isn't quite so bulky, so it does a better job than the Dime. And then if we look at the flathead on the True Utility, it actually does get in there better than all of them. But as I say, I'm a bit nervous of having a screwdriver with a saw blade along its edge. When it comes to the pliers, let's just see how we get on for wire cutting. The Leatherman cuts most of the way through. The Gerber just pushes the wire away. It's kind of weird, that. Don't know why it's doing that, but that makes it awkward to use. So you have to hold it back to do it. Doesn't quite cut all the way through. And then this one just doesn't cut into it at all, really. So we've got all the strands there are still intact with the True Utility, whereas if I use the Leatherman, you can see it's cut through much better and it can be pulled away. So in terms of the plier cutters, the Leatherman is the best. The Gerber's strange in the way it pushes the whatever's in there, it pushes it out of it. That makes it really awkward to use for wire cutting. And the True Utility just doesn't do a very good job of cutting at all. And then when it comes to the cap lifter, I'm not going to open 4 bottles of beer because I would probably drink them all, but it will be easy to compare which one gets the most purchase on the bottle. So let's start with the True Utility. This is particularly awkward to use. So you've got to position it on one of the flared bits of the lid, and when you finally do that, you can get it in there. The Leatherman Style has a different approach. You literally do that, and then it's got hold of it much more easily. The Leatherman Squirt has it built into the screwdriver, so this one you have to position carefully as well. You won't be taking a lot of bottle tops off in a hurry. It's good to have if you've got nothing else, but it's not the best. Then we've got the Gerber Dime. The cap lifter is a big feature on this, and you can see why that is the best of the lot. That's very easy. From best to worst, as far as the cap lifter goes, it goes like that. When it comes to opening packages, the Gerber has a unique tool for that. So if you are constantly opening packaging, this could be a very useful tool depending on how it stands up to wear and tear. So overall, to conclude, I would rule out the true utility for me. I know it's the cheapest by quite a long way, and the packaging makes it look great, but we know the knife blade doesn't work well at all, nor does the wire cutters, and the plier head is misaligned and not very precision. The screwdriver is on the end of a saw blade, which makes it dangerous, and the Phillips screwdriver is too short and surrounded by the bulk of the handle. That makes it very hard to get into tight spaces. It does have a saw, but that's not a great appeal for me, and it's very heavy and very bulky, so that's not one for me. The Leatherman Style is nicely engineered, very light, very compact, easy to carry, but is lacking in tools. So for me, this only really works if you particularly don't want a knife, which generally means you want to carry it in hand luggage on a flight, then that might be the one for you. So really it's down to the Leatherman Squirt or the Gerber Dime. They're very similar in terms of functionality, except the Leatherman has a file, whereas the Gerber Dime has a package opener. For me, I'd rather have the file because it adds a level of functionality, whereas you can always open a package using the knife blade. In terms of cost, the Dime beats the Leatherman, but in every other respect, the Leatherman is the winner. The Leatherman is more compact, it is lighter weight, and it's better engineered. So a clear win overall for the Leatherman Squirt PS4. And for those on more of a budget, the Gerber Dime is not a bad option. So there you have it. I hope that's been useful. Please give it the thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video. It really helps the channel. And if you'd like to see the scissor-based mini multi-tool comparison, then check out this video here. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.